Arman Tsarukyan just got booked to wrestle Tony Ferguson at RAF 10, and I cannot believe it. I'm tired of Arman's wrestling matches, and especially because this isn't even the biggest mismatch he's had recently. So, first off, let me start off with saying Arman versus Tony Ferguson, June 13th, wrestling match, RAF. 90-year-old Tony Ferguson versus Arman Tsarukyan in his prime. And I know a lot of people are saying, Arman is just trying to stay active. He can't get fights right now. That's fine and all right, but he doesn't have to wrestle Tony Ferguson. And I'm getting real tired of all of these wrestling matches he's taken. I appreciate him trying to stay active in wrestling and him trying to keep the clips up so he can stay relevant. But at some point, it's getting a little too far. So let's see. Arman versus Tony Ferguson. Let's see what people think about this. I can't be alone in this. Yeah, a lot of people are they're not too happy. Who asked for this? We wanted Arman versus Covington, not this. Give Arman some good opponents. Come on. But Arman is up against nothing but retirees. Yeah, other people are noticing this. It's time for Arman to start fighting people around his own age, his own size, his own skill level, because this is starting to get ridiculous. Now, we're going to start looking at Arman's past opponents. Let's see what his Tapology is saying right now. Since his last UFC fight, he's had quite a few wrestling matches. Let's see who they were against. Shara Magomedov. Actually, let's start a little earlier. We have Shara Magomedov. All right, that's okay. You have Lance Palmer, George Poulas. Again, the Giorgio Poulas fight, wrestling match, sorry, I'm not that mad at. I was at first because he is an influencer. Arman is supposed to be one of the best wrestlers in the world outside of actual wrestlers, MMA wrestlers in the world. I know Giorgio is only a influencer really in the wrestling world, but he still has pretty decent wrestling, and it caused controversy, which is why I was also interested in the rematch. But then let's look after that. Mohamed Mokaev, a flyweight. This is a flyweight that he wrestled. Arman is a thickly built lightweight, and he was wrestling a flyweight. I had no interest in this match, and I had no clue why it was booked, but I thought maybe this is just a one-off type of match. He's not going to keep doing these. Then we have Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber, the 50-year-old retired skateboarder. In all seriousness, though, how old is Uriah Faber? He is not young, significantly smaller than Arman. I just don't see the entertainment factor in these wrestling matches anymore. I really don't. Then we have him fighting 900-year-old Tony Ferguson, wobbly cobbly knee Tony Ferguson, who has been boxing with no wrestling training for the past just about, has it been over a year yet? Then we have Keelan Jimson. Let's see what he's been up to. Interesting. Beat Clay Guida in a wrestling match. Lost to Giorgio, who Arman already beat. This guy is a glorified influencer in the wrestling world as well. And I, for one, have had enough of Arman in his wrestling matches. Now, I understand that he has to keep these up for his clip farming that he's been doing recently. But at some point, enough is enough. He can get fights in the UFC. They just won't be title fights, but I understand him waiting out. In fact, I think he should wait out. But if he's going to keep doing wrestling matches, don't have them be against 920-year-old Tony Ferguson, influencer, pipsqueak, guy who really shouldn't have been in there with him, but I'm not mad at it. It was a rematch. A flyweight. This is starting to get ridiculous. Henderson, really? Dan Hooker is his only fight he's had in the UFC since Charles Oliveira in 2024. And the same time that Charles Oliveira and him fought at UFC 300, Ilya won the belt 1 month earlier. So on that same time, Ilya has not for the first time moved up to a division, knocked out Charles Oliveira in the first round to win a second belt, and is now going to be fighting Justin Gaethje at the White House. And in that same time, Arman has fought Dan Hooker. Yep. You see what I mean? Dan Hooker. And don't get me wrong. Again, I think Arman should be getting the next title shot. But by doing all of this, he's allowing for other people to possibly pass him up because the division is not going to stay inactive forever. People are going to keep fighting. Like Patty just got booked to fight BSD. If BSD beats Patty dominantly, finishes him, something that Gaethje couldn't do, that might let BSD pass up Arman for a title shot. Or if Oliveira gets another win in the meantime, that will either justify maybe a rematch with Arman or passing up Arman for a title shot. Arman is being too busy with these wrestling matches, and I understand he doesn't want to risk a loss, but because of the way the UFC is treating him, he has to take the risk. I mean, come on, at some point, I can't be the only one who's getting tired of him fighting 952-year-old retired skateboarders with double chins. I'm sorry. So I just had to get that off my chest. Arman, if you're watching this, and I know you're probably not, but if you are, please stop fighting or wrestling these guys. Get a fight booked in the UFC, or if not, just wait out. Or if you want to keep wrestling, wrestle guys who are on your level, because I cannot see you fight 952-year-old Tony Ferguson again. Because if this wrestling match goes how I think it's going to go, then I'm sorry. I'm calling someone in to arrest Arman Tsarukyan for elderly abuse. All right, that's all I had to say. See you guys later. Hopefully Arman comes to his senses and gets this wrestling match canceled. Or if he does go through with it, hopefully this is the last one of its kind. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.